Ladies and gentlemen, gather around, because what happened in Parliament this week wasn't testimony. It was a live dissection of the entire criminal justice system, performed by a man who walked in wearing designer clothes, smelling like imported cologne and corruption money, and sat down with the relaxed confidence of a man about to order lunch, not confess to a national scandal. Vusimuzi, Cat Matlala, didn't just tell his story. He peeled the skin off South Africa's policing, politics, banking, and intelligence structures layer by layer until Parliament began to look less like a house of oversight and more like a crime documentary set. He sat there, calm, neat, polished, well-tailored, with the kind of composure people normally reserve for spa appointments, and laid out in painful detail how he allegedly bribed ministers, bought police generals like fruit and checkers, infiltrated SAPS tenders, manipulated investigations, hid behind a mini army, and allegedly got assistance from a major bank to move illicit money. The MPs were sweating. Cat wasn't. He was so unbothered. He could have been negotiating peace between Russia and Ukraine as a side task while answering corruption questions. But let's not get distracted by the confidence. Delicious as it was, because the true horror was in the content of what he said. He began with the biggest grenade. Former Police Minister Bheki Cele. According to Cat, he gave Cele 500,000 rands in 2 cash installments. 300,000 rands here, 200,000 rands there. Because Cele allegedly stepped in to stop police raids on his properties and help him recover seized firearms. Yes, you heard that right. The former Minister of Police allegedly helping a cartel boss retrieve guns like some kind of national key point firearm exchange program. Cat detailed a trip to Durban, where he personally delivered 200,000 rands in cash, traveling with 14 bodyguards like he was escorting Beyonce, not bribing a cabinet minister. And all the while, we all know Cele previously swore under oath that he never took a cent from Cat. Cat basically responded on live TV. He's lying, with the same casual tone someone uses to mention that the weather looks rainy.
I just want to make a follow-up on the same question. General Cele said you called him, you met him, told him Mkhwanazi told you that Mchunu wants to be a president and therefore they need you to finance the campaign of Mchunu. And they told you not to work with Cele and make sure you close Cele out and Zuma out. Don't tell these issues. And from there, you need to keep on giving him information, because when we asked him, why do you keep Matlala close to you? He said, no, I kept him close because he was bringing information from Mkhwanazi to my side. So I can't let him go because he's giving me information. He said that under oath. And now you are saying he's the one who came with the information, the opposite of what he told us. So effectively, I'm asking you, Mr. Matlala, did former Minister Cele lie under oath about those issues in relation to your name?
Yes, he lied under oath.
Thank you.
If he was asking, he was sucking information, why would he even ask me to ask my protectors to take him and his wife to a wedding somewhere in Lanseria? So that there was no way from me sending my protectors to drive him to a wedding. There was no way he will get information from those guys. He don't know them. If he wanted information, he was supposed to all the time make sure that I'm with him so that he can suck information from me. But it was for his own benefit.
Then he revealed that he also paid 500,000 to Senzo Mchunu's ANC presidential campaign through one Brown Mkhwanazi, an information peddler whose job title alone screams WhatsApp gossip distributor. Yes, I'm talking about the brown Mkhwanazi who was lying from left to right to top to bottom when he appeared before the same portfolio committee. This money, Matlala says, was meant to buy him protection, to stop police investigations, to secure his SAPS business contracts. Instead, he claims Mchunu took the money and did absolutely nothing. Imagine being a cartel boss complaining to parliament that your bribe didn't yield results. This is how you know South Africa is finished. Even criminals file customer service complaints. Next, Cat dove into the infamous 360,000 SAPS tender awarded to his company, Bheki 24. The tender was irregular, flagged internally, mismanaged, and loaded with compliance failures. And yet, it still sailed through the system like corruption has VIP access in Pretoria. Cat insisted SAPS didn't do proper due diligence, essentially telling Parliament, I didn't force them to be incompetent. He even admitted that he had help from influential figures like Lieutenant General Fani and Major General Senona in securing the tender, before Mchunu cancelled it, prompting Cat to feel robbed of his opportunities. Keep in mind, he was saying all this while looking like he was about to launch a clothing line called Bheki Cele. But the tender wasn't even the scariest part. Cat went deeper, much deeper. He exposed what he described as a payroll of senior SAP officers, Lieutenant General Sibia, Major General Senona, and others, implying he paid these officials regularly to protect him, warn him, and ensure smooth sailing through SAPS operations. According to witness C's earlier testimony, Cat bragged about having top cops in the palm of his hands. Now sitting in parliament with the composure of a man reading stock prices, he practically confirmed that SAPS upper ranks were operating like a subscription-based protection service. Persons need Netflix, Cat had generals. And just when parliament thought they had reached the bottom of the barrel, Cat casually revealed how he was pressured to file a fake Rolex theft complaint in order to discredit honest officers and help settle SAPS internal political scores. The watch was never stolen. It was all part of a factional war with SAPS. Cat admitted this as though he were admitting to losing a receipt for KFC. He also accused Cele of promising to stop police harassment if he withdrew lawsuits against certain officers. This was not a criminal confessing. This was a man explaining how SAPS allegedly used him as a pawn during their turf war. Then he addressed Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, widely seen as a no-nonsense, straight-shooting police officer. Cat didn't spare him either. He alleged that Mkhwanazi knew about corruption and failed to act, implying that even one of SAP's most feared leaders was aware of rot but either powerless, unwilling, or unable to stop it. He said it calmly, too calmly, as if describing the weather forecast. And then came his bodyguards, the paramilitary squad. Cat explained he employed 12 to 14 personal protectors, former task force and special forces members, each earning 100,000 rands per month. Julius Malema nearly fainted, calling it a paramilitary force. Imagine being a man accused of billions in fraud and still being able to pay a private army more than state workers earn in a year. Cat described this setup with the serenity of a man explaining gym memberships. Not shocking, just a normal cartel lifestyle choice. But the cherry on top, the velvet smooth designer wrapped cherry, was when Cat claimed First Bank National Bank helped enable the laundering of 300,000 bribe by allowing his sister to withdraw the money without raising alarms. Maybe FNB should be charged, he joked, because in South Africa, even banks allegedly moonlight as silent partners in corruption. And then, the moment that froze Parliament in time, Cat looked MPs in the eye, calm, groomed, fragrance intact, and explained that he's not in prison because he committed crimes. No, he claims he is in jail because he failed to convince a man tortured by police to withdraw charges. According to him, the system wanted the charges dropped, and when the torture victim refused, they threw him, Cat, into prison instead. Whether or not this is true is a separate horror. But the calmness with which he said it, the confidence dripping from his delivery, the absolute lack of fear or guilt was more chilling than the allegations themselves. And this is where his demeanor mattered. Because while he laid out corruption on all levels, ministers, generals, SAPS units, political campaigns, banks, tender committees, security divisions, his composure was unnerving. He rarely stammered. He never panicked. He never contradicted himself. He spoke as though the entire country had simply forgotten the script and he alone remembered it. If he was lying, he is the most polished liar ever produced on African soil. If he was telling the truth, then South Africa doesn't have a corruption problem. It is a corruption ecosystem, a corruption supply chain, a corruption culture with HR, payroll, logistics, and customer support. He sat there in designer clothes, painting the security system black, not grey, not stained, not questionable, but pitch black, bottomless, irredeemable, like a well with no end. No one was spared. No rank was too high, no officer too feared, no minister too important. He talked like a man who had lived inside the machinery of state and knew every rusty bolt. And that calmness, that confidence, that terrifyingly steady flow, it didn't replace the corruption revelations. It amplified them. Because the man exposing the rot didn't look scared. He looked like someone who had finally decided to stop carrying the weight of everyone else's filth. And Parliament looked like it needed counseling. Because whether Cat Matlala is a mastermind, a liar, a victim, or an architect of chaos, one thing is certain. If even 10% of his story is true, South Africa is not in trouble. It is in a national emergency disguised as democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think Cat Matlala was telling the truth? Or was he just trying to save his skin? If he was telling the truth, do you think right now Cat Matlala is in trouble and that his life is in danger and that he could be attacked in prison? Or do you think he feels protected because of what he said in Parliament? Ladies and gentlemen, put your comments in the comment section. Let's hear what South Africa says.